everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy. Today I'm doing a book review of Colorless Tsukuru Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage, written by Haruki Murakami and translated by Philip Gabriel. When I normally give book reviews, I do my best to keep it spoiler free. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that for this video. In fact, I know I'm not going to be able to do that because the things I want to talk about are all the spoilers. Now, for the first part of this review, I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as possible. When I talk about the summary, I'm not going to talk about the spoilers, and then I'll talk about my initial impressions of the book. And then I'll get into the spoilers, which I will then label. So this book follows a character named Tsukuru Tazaki, go figure, and we meet him when he's in his mid-30s. I think he's like 36 or something along those lines. And we find that he is not the happiest of people. And one of the reasons why is because he kind of finds himself in this rut of relationships, as far as like he doesn't really have any friends. He's kind of sort of in this relationship with this girl named Sada. He's not finding his life to be very bountiful. And the reason why this is, or at least where it stems from, is a friendship that he had back in his high school days. So he was friends with 4 other people. I'm going to be referring to them by their nicknames he had for them. So there's Eo, Aka, Kuro, and Shiro. He was just really close with this group of friends. When they reach college age, his friends stay in Nagoya, and Tsukuru applies for Tokyo University, and he gets in, and he goes off to Tokyo. In the summer times, he still comes back to Nagoya and spends time with his friends. Sophomore year of college, Tsukuru finds that his friends are avoiding him, and he's not really sure why. He tries his best to get a hold of them, he tries his best to hang out with them, but they keep avoiding him. Their family members say, "Oh, sorry, we're not here right now. They're not here right now. They can't hang out." They ghost him. That's really what this gets down to. Well, one day, I guess Tsukuru calls one too many times because Eo, one of his friends, says, "Don't call us anymore. You're no longer part of the group." And that's it. Hurt and betrayed because he's not part of the group anymore, and not really understanding why, Tsukuru doesn't call his friends anymore, doesn't try. He just takes them, telling him not to call them anymore, and then he doesn't. He doesn't look for more answers during that time. Well, now fast forward back into the present day, which he is now 36 and dating Sada, and Sada tells him, you know, you have this wall between you and other people, and I think one of the reasons why that is because of this betrayal that you had when you were in high school. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up your friends and you're going to talk to them. Sada gets to the point, is really what that's all about. But Tsukuru goes along with it because Sada's just telling him what to do. And this is kind of a main aspect, by the way, of Tsukuru's life is, and a part of his personality is he just pretty much does what people tell him to do. So Sada gets him that information, gets him what happened with his friends. One of them had passed away. But she gives him the information about the 3 others so that he can go and talk with them and get that closure that he needs. One thing that I really liked about this book is that it very much encompasses the feelings that you get when a friendship ends, when a really close friendship ends, and you're not really sure why, and you're not really sure how that happened. And especially when you're not the one who ended it yourself, but rather that the other person either ignored you or told you straight out that, hey, we're not going to hang out with anymore, or we're not friends anymore. And I really think Murakami did an excellent job encompassing this in the feelings that Tsukuru had. Sometimes that bewilderment of how did that happen, and that sense of I'm not good enough. The real introspection that you have, is that even a word? Anyway, that thought that you have of the reason why we're no longer friends is because I'm not good enough. Tsukuru has major feelings of, I want to say, inadequacy when it comes to his high school friends. Like, he looks at them, he's like, they're so talented, they're so cool. But he looks at himself, he's like, my face is boring, I'm boring. And, you know, even if that's not true, and even if other people don't see him that way, he feels that way. And I thought, I empathized so much with that. I thought, oh my gosh, my feelings are on paper. Where, you know, those feelings of, oh, in comparison to my friends, I'm not as funny, I'm not as interesting, I'm not as smart, I'm definitely not as smart, but I'm not as whatever the quality that your friend has. Those feelings that accompany you when you're around people who you admire so much, but you feel like you don't fit that way. I thought was really well done. I thought Murakami did such an excellent job in that feeling, that ambiance of I'm just not there like my friends are. I'm just not in that place. So I really felt for Tsukuru at that moment of really thinking back to where these people are so great and they're doing such great things and they have such great personalities, and here I am not like that. It just was really good. I was really interested in this book and, why the friendship broke up and why that happened. Now, in generality terms, I will say I was not very pleased with where the plot went, mainly because I felt like there's a lot of holes in them. The reason why, I'm not going to talk about right now so that I can give you a spoiler-free part of the review, but the reason why the friendship group broke off, or at least the reason why they cut him off, I just felt was a little bit of a cop-out, and it brought up whole new storylines I felt were so incomplete and just didn't really do it for me as far as being concrete and nuanced, if that makes any sense. It felt lacking to me in so many different ways, and I was really frustrated with that because I feel like there are so many reasons why friendships get cut off or why people just don't want to be friends anymore. But we went into this really extreme reason, and it just was really frustrating. I just didn't feel like that aspect of the book was very well played out. Tsukuru coming into terms with that he's no longer as close to his friends, that it wasn't because he is boring or that he's not good enough, that it was because of something else that happened, and his growth throughout that I thought was done really well. But yeah, it's that major plot twist of why he gets kicked out of the friendship group that I didn't feel was done particularly well. But okay, now to get into the spoilery bits, because this is the reason why Tsukuru gets kicked out of his friendship group is because Shiro tells the others that he drugged and raped her. So I will say that in the book it's not true. So Tsukuru never had Shiro visit him in Tokyo, and he never sexually assaulted her. So one of the reasons why this frustrates me is because I felt like it was a really cheap way to get a friendship group to split up. And what I mean by cheap is that it's pretty much one of the ultimate things that can happen to where you are going to cut off a friend. Like, if I found out that one of my good friends drugged and sexually assaulted another friend of mine, or even anyone, not even just another friend of mine, just another person, I'd be pissed. Like, I would break off that friendship. It feels like a cop-out. Like, of all the reasons why to kick him out, we have to go to this extreme reason to break up this friendship group. And then to find out that this gal falsely accuses Tsukuru is just... So admittedly, I'm going to start from the beginning of why this frustrated me into the plot, as far as when we find out that Shiro accuses Tsukuru of this. For one, Tsukuru has been having dreams, even before he meets up with his old friends to find out what happened, of the two girls that were in his friendship group. So Kuro and Shiro. And all these dreams are sexual. He has having threesomes in each of these dreams, and he always finishes with Shiro, who is the one who accuses him of rape. So I actually thought, holy crap, we're empathizing with someone who has done sexual assault. And this was before, we find out that no, this is not true, and that Tsukuru didn't do that. But I was like, why then do we have these dreams? Because the dreams don't really fit in for me. And then not only on top of that, but I mentioned that he had a friend named Haida who also left him back in college, and he has a sex dream about Haida too. And so I was like, why doesn't, like, if he's having a sex dream about Haida, who is this dude that he swims with every now and then, why is he not having sex dreams with the other two dudes who were in his friendship group in high school? Why is it only the two girls? I had a lot of questions. The other friends, so Eo, Aka, and Kuro, all tell Tsukuru, we knew she was lying because some things didn't add up. We don't get what doesn't add up, by the way, in her story. We never hear Shiro's point of view at all, because she's the one who died. She was murdered in Hamamatsu, where she lived, and she was strangled in her own apartment. That never gets solved either, by the way. That is just kind of there. We don't know who murdered her, if it was connected to the sexual assault that she did have, because she was sexually assaulted. She just accused Tsukuru instead of the guy who did the sexual assault. As I said, I feel like this is such a cop-out. Shido dies, and how convenient is that we never get her point of view. We never get why she did the things that she did. There's no nuance to it, and that's, I think, what killed me the most. Instead, we get, speculation on why she did what she did. Kudo, Aka, and Eo all just kind of put out there that she was mentally ill, that she had some mental problems going on. That feels like such an oversimplification of what could potentially be a more nuanced conversation. That's so simplified. It drives me nuts. Tsukuro ends up coming to his own conclusions that Shido just didn't like that they were growing apart, that the whole group was just growing into their own lives, and that Tsukuro was in Tokyo, and he was just the easier of the group to cut off. So why not cut off the group? Why not make the group fall apart now? Make it less painful instead of waiting for it to happen. I don't even really have words to describe how disappointed I was to read that part of the book. The last thing that bothered me about this book, every gal who is featured in this book, their breasts were mentioned, with maybe the exception of one, and maybe I just blocked it out, and that was Olga. But like Shido, Kudo, Sada, all three, their breasts are mentioned and described. Why? He didn't describe Eo and Aka's pecs. Like, I don't know if this was the right Haruki Murakami book to start with, because, whoo boy, that was a journey. I am willing to give his books another go. I don't know which one I'll go with. I'll probably look to see what they are about, and read the reviews of those books before I get into them, and read some spoilers so I'm not surprised. But I will probably be reading his books again. So as said, and to end this on a little bit of a better note, I did like a lot of the scenes where Murakami describes kind of the loneliness that Tsukuro feels, feeling that he's not good enough, not bright enough, not colorful enough for his friends. I felt like that was done really well. It's just those things that it's just that plot point. Not very good. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like hearing me talk about books and ranting about, boobs being described, subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. May you get lost in a book.